Hi sweet thing, I'm Cara and welcome to day one of A Kiss Beneath the Mistletoe. In case I neglected to mention why I chose this as the title for this series, it all comes down to that acronym KISS. Keep it simple, sweetie. So each day's practice is going to be relatively short and simple, but with practice it can become quite profound. So I'd like to start today with perhaps the most important thing that I've learned over the last few years from reading the Daily Stoic, which is essentially a day book that guides you in the ways of Stoic thinking and is strangely applicable to the modern world. It's about your locus of control. So I mentioned in the introduction that this series was born through a recent experience I had in hospital. And as you can imagine, the majority of that experience was events outside of my control. And I think the thing that helped me to stay calm throughout was realizing that there was nothing I could do about the majority of the things that I was experiencing because they were outside of my control. So I'd like to share a reading from January 1st from the Daily Stoic. The single most important practice in Stoic philosophy is differentiating between what we can change and what we can't, what we have influence over and what we do not. A flight is delayed because of weather. No amount of yelling at an airline representative will end a storm. No amount of wishing will make you taller or shorter or born in a different country. No matter how hard you try, you can't make someone like you. And on top of that, time spent hurling yourself at these immovable objects is time not spent on the things we can change. The recovery community practices something called the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Addicts cannot change the abuse suffered in childhood. They can't undo the choices that they've made or the hurt that they've caused. But they can change the future through the power they have in the present moment. As Epictetus said, Epictetus was a rather famous Stoic philosopher who spent the majority of his life as a slave. They can control the choices they make right now. The same is true for us today. If we can focus on making clear what parts of our day are within our control and what parts are not, we will not only be happier, but we'll have a distinct advantage over other people who fail to realize they're fighting an unwinnable battle. Now, if this sounds like the whole unwinnable battle thing makes you feel a bit defeated before you begin, it's not like that at all. The only things we truly have control over are ourselves, what we say, how we interpret the events that we're surrounded by, and our actions. There's so much that we don't control, that we don't have a say in, and so our job becomes to respond to those things lightly, to not have opinions about the things that we can't change. They may be desperately unfair, but that doesn't change that things are happening right here and right now, does it? So close your eyes for a second and let's take a couple of settling breaths together as we think about this principle of our locus of control. Take a nice deep breath through nose or mouth, whatever's more comfortable for you today. And open your mouth and sigh that breath out and make some noise. Now think about what today may throw your way. The people that you'll encounter who you have no say over their behaviour. the jobs that you will have to do, regardless of how you feel about them. And noticing that by giving up this sense of fighting against things you have no control over, it frees up so much mental bandwidth for the things that are in our control, the ways that we show up in the world. Sure, we can work hard, and that has absolutely no bearing on whether our offerings are received well or not. All we can do is show up and try regardless. We don't get to say how other people interpret our actions, so we have to make sure that we come from a good place. The whole idea is to behave in ways that make us feel satisfied with ourselves. And I don't mean satisfied as getting a swelled head or feeling completely justified and egotistical about how great we are. By paying attention to the things that you can control, you move through the world with so much lightness, because you realize that everybody is buffeted about by the winds of chaos. And those people who decide that they're going to complain about it, they're just wasting energy. So just stay here for a moment longer and think about how you would like to show up in the world today. Who do you want to be? Because that is the thing that you have the most control over. But also hold this awareness lightly. And if you become activated during a conversation with somebody and it doesn't go the way that you had planned for it to go, can you just move on with awareness that you'd like to do things differently in the future for a different outcome? Let go of the things that you can't control. Really embrace the things that you can. And if this isn't applicable to this whole end of the year, festive season time, then I don't know what does. You can't control the length of the line at the grocery store. You can't control the ways that people are going to be obnoxious and push your buttons. But you can control whether you take a deep breath before reacting, or choosing not to react at all. Maybe you can remind yourself that everybody else is experiencing the same sorts of pressure, and it'll allow you to be a little more patient. And that is another thing that you can control. I hope this gives you a really nice place to begin. Because once you realize how much is actually within your control, it gives you a whole new sense of self-mastery. Realizing that you can regulate yourself, but you can't regulate anybody else. So as you move out into today, just keep reminding yourself, is this within my control? And if it's not, focus on what is, which is the way you behave, the way you perceive events, and the things that you say and do. Thanks for joining me for day one of A Kiss Beneath the Mistletoe. Let's end with the way that I'm going to bring things to a close for the next 7 days, with a nice big hug. So inhale the arms out wide to either side. You might like to wiggle your fingers, shimmy through the shoulders, whatever feels good to you now. And then cross the right arm on top of the left and give yourself a nice big hug. Include whatever I love you gesture you might give to somebody that you were embracing that you love. Taking one more breath here. And then inhaling the arms out wide, because we've got to take this over to the other side for balance. This time crossing the left arm on top of the right. Thank you for sharing your time and your practice with me today. I'll see you for day 2 of A Kiss Between the Mistletoe. Mind how you go, sweet thing.